Government now says it's sending a message to America. A deployment including this destroyer and a supply ship that carries helicopters said to be soon patrolling off to the eastern coast of the United States. On the screen here, we showed this to you before. That comes out of the Persian Gulf here in the Strait of Hormuz. In the past, what the Iranians have done, they've used the Suez Canal to park off the west coast here of Syria. It's our understanding this time they won't go through the Suez Canal, but advance it one time for me if you could, and they'll come down here around the tip of South Africa and up toward the eastern coast of the United States. But the question remains, is this a serious threat or just bluster out of Tehran? KT McFarland's our Fox News national security analyst, and you've been looking at this for the past couple of weeks. Good morning to you, KT. You know, I think that is the question, and you're not quite sure what this whole message thing is about, but how do you take this?
Well,
serious or not?
It's not a serious threat, no. I mean, look, in the past, Iran has said it's going to do this, and they've never managed to pull it off. And as you just pointed out, the fleet of warships is just 2 ships. They may be a threat to a sailboat in the region, but to the pack of U.S. nuclear-powered attack submarines that are no doubt following this fleet, not a problem.
So help me and our viewers out with this. When Tehran says we're sending America a message, a message about what?
Well, I think it's a bigger picture in the sense that with Iran, you know, it's not what they say, it's what they do. And usually what they do is something that you don't see. For example, their biggest military threat in the entire Middle East isn't from the Iranian military. It's from all those proxy militaries that it pays for in Hezbollah, Syria, etc. In this case, I think it's an example of what President Obama's called the leading from behind strategy. You know, we're going to be leading, but we're going to be leading from behind. Well, it's created a job opening up front. And the Iranians and the Chinese and the Russians are all trying to fill it. And so what you're seeing is something that you really haven't seen for a long time in American foreign policy, which is other major countries are kind of pinging us. They're trying to test. They're trying to see, you know, what can they get away with? Russia's doing the same thing with Putin, whether it's in the Middle East, whether it's with Snowden. The Chinese are doing the same thing in the South China Sea. What can they get away with? Where can their military go where we won't challenge them? And I think you're seeing a similar reaction on the part of the Iranians.
You're a Navy woman, okay?
I'm a Navy mom,
you're a Navy mom, okay. Do the Iranians have the ability to get that far?
We don't know yet.
And to get back?
I
know, serious question.
No, it's a really good question.
Do they?
They haven't in the past. They've said they were going to, you know, if you read the headline, it sounds like, oh my God, the Iranian Navy is coming to attack the east coast of the United States. Well, they've said stuff like that before, and they've never managed to pull it off. But remember, Iran is a country which said they had a cure for AIDS. So they're given to these sort of
Your initial answer, I think, is very interesting. We don't know.
You don't know.
They can say what they want, but until it happens, no one knows.
Yeah, and if it happens, I think it's not anything that's a military threat to us, but we ought to understand that other countries are starting to nip at our heels. Other countries are saying we see a weak America, an American retreat, a weak American president, and we're going to take advantage of the United States wherever we can, anywhere in the world.
That's the bigger point.
Yeah.
A U.S. Navy defense official said it's important to understand we have an announcement. They've stated this aspiration before. Have they talked this way before?
Yeah, they've talked this way in 2011. They've said in 2 or 3 other occasions where they've said we're going to send warships, a fleet of warships, to the off the coast of America. What it does, though, is it shows that Iran is an expansionist nation. The map that you just showed where you had the Iranians, that they normally did the loop, well, that loop is new. Normally, Iran just stayed in the Persian Gulf. But in the last several years, Iran has gone around through the Suez Canal out into the Mediterranean. This is another example of Iran trying to show that it has global ambitions and it is a big power.
You've raised a lot of great points here. Just one more point. You say it's usually not the threats you see that matter.
Yeah.
It's the threats you don't see. What do you mean by that?
Where the real action is with Iran right now is the nuclear negotiations. You know, we say, or President Obama has said, they're going to stop their nuclear program, they're not going to get nuclear weapons. They come out and say, you know, we never did that deal. We're going to keep our nuclear program. Iran in the past, especially with their nuclear programs, it's not the nuclear enrichment facilities that you see. It's the ones that they've kept hidden. It's the stuff that they haven't revealed. It's the stuff that they've made you think that there really wasn't anything there. That's what you worry about with Iran. Not what you see up front, but what's behind the curtain.
Well stated. Also, I should point out in 2011, going back 3 years, they threatened a similar thing. So we'll see whether or not they are successful this time and if they can carry it out. KT McFarland, thank you for being with us today.